G'day guys and welcome back to GNs_gaming for another Dokkan Battle video. So for today's video we've finally got news. So part 2 of the worldwide download celebration is likely only a couple days away for the 11th. We're going to be getting a live stream and they've just announced using the JP Twitter. God knows why they don't do this for the global Twitter as well. But we have the TEQ Broly EZA coming. So a lot of people were probably pretty surprised that that didn't drop in part 1. But instead we've got it in part 2 here, which makes sense because part 2 is probably going to be themed around the second movie. So as you see, we've got all the details here. Before we go into those details with the translations, this is going to be a pretty impactful EZA if he is good. We look at it down here. There's a ton of ton of unit teams here that need a lot of help. Like you look at Controllable Power, we're about to get a leader for that. Legendary Existence, Inhuman Deeds, Exploding Rage, Target Goku, Revenge, Resurrected Warriors, and the place where you're most likely going to be running this guy all the time being movie bosses because we did just get the new TEQ Broly as well. So hopefully they did not disappoint here. So we've got the EZA translations. We're getting them straight from Goresh, so we know that these are going to be fire, as per usual. If you don't, go follow him on Twitter. And yeah, we'll jump into these here. So for the Broly, his leader skill now becomes 4 key 150 to Resurrected Warriors, or Extreme Tech 4 key 100%. Sort of wish that they'd make that a little bit higher for Battlefield, but yeah, is what it is. So on his 12 key super attack, you got raise attack for 1 turn, causes colossal damage and greatly lowers enemy defense. So no defense there, which means that probably additional isn't the most valuable there, but we'll keep that in mind as we get through, go through the video. For his 18 key super, he greatly raises attack, greatly raises defense. So there you go, we've got a 50% defensive buff there. And the attack is a stack because of the combo there, so that's separate. So the defense raises for 1 turn, causes mega colossal and massively lowers defense. Massively lowering defense look like there is some difficult stages where that can be valuable, but they are pretty few and far between, to be honest. Then for his passive, we've got key +3 and attack and defense 200%. So good start of turn buffs. You're literally going to be only using this guy in slot 2 because if you're running movie bosses, you're going to be running the TEQ Broly in slot 1. So you sort of got to look at it from the outlook that this guy is a slot 2 or 3 unit here. He gains an additional 120% when performing a super. Gets 120% if it is an 18 key super, so big numbers percentage wise here. But that's if it's an 18 key. Gain an additional 50% attack when attacking an enemy who is in attack or defense down. Again, that comes into effect with the super attack effects, but yeah, how regularly are we going to be able to get that off? He gains 3 key and launches additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super when facing one enemy. So that's handy. Extra key is always really good. More often than not, we are going against one enemy, and it is worded how we like, where it is a guaranteed attack that has the 50% chance of becoming a super. And then gains 5 key and launches an additional super attack when facing 2 or more enemies. So he can then transform, really easy transformation conditions, so I doubt that will change, and that's when he goes into Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. So let's see. For his 12 key super, we now get attack and defense for 1 turn and causes colossal damage, greatly lowers enemy defense. So here's where the additional supers can definitely come back into the fold. You're going to be spending 90% of the time in Legendary Super Saiyan Broly anyway. So yeah, additional could be very valuable there. For his 18 key, he greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, causes mega colossal, and again massively lowers defense. So a 50% defensive raise there is also fire. For his passive now, he gets 4 key, 220% start of turn, gains an additional 120%, and performs an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super when performing a super. So perfect, written just like we like it, like the previous phase. Plus an additional attack plus 166%, which is a big number, and guard activated against all attacks, and extreme class allies chance to perform a crit plus 6% for 2 turns if it is an 18 key super. So you're 100% going to be wanting to make sure you get this guy to an 18 key super to get that guard and that massive attack boost. I feel like this guy is going to be putting in some insane offensive numbers here. So he also gains an additional attack plus 100% when performing an attack against an enemy whose attack or defense down, same as before. Gains 4 key and launches additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super when facing only one enemy. So that means if you do have additional on these guys, he can potentially quad super if you get lucky. That one is a 70% chance of being a super too, which is worth mentioning. And then he gains plus 6 key and launches additional super when facing 2 or more enemies. So quad super, you look at the big numbers like this 166% there, extra 120 there. I feel like he's going to be able to put out some insane offensive numbers, especially if you're got him sitting next to the other TEQ Broly. This guy in slot 2, TEQ Broly in slot 1, maybe a support in slot 3. That could go really, really crazy. His defensive mechanic is guard as long as you're getting off the 18 key. Yeah, like given that he's got so many stats and he can perform so many supers, I feel like he will be looking pretty sound defensively as well. Build-wise, I feel like dodge is going to be really valuable for this first phase here, but then he goes into an offensive juggernaut, so crit and additional is pretty valuable. Yeah, that's an interesting one. And then, as per usual, I did get up the stats from Halvard, so always go check out their Twitter as well. So we've got the base here. So you can see start of turn is 209k, and then post 18 key super Broly jumps up to a milli, which he'd probably get cooked by a lot of bosses here, so that'll have to be pretty risky. Play it pretty careful with him there. And then with 40% support, that does jump up to 1.2 milli. So not the craziest numbers there. Then you transform, and so without support, start of turn defense is 223k still, but then you can perform a bunch of additional supers. So post 12 key, 637. Post 18 key, you're going to be 735. So worth mentioning that you're then going to have the chance to get the extra supers here. So you jump up to 1.177 with guard, and the guard is worth mentioning with that. Then we've got with domain, clearly because AGL Broly is one of those units that you will likely be running on the Movie Bosses team. So with that, if you get the lucky 18 key plus 3 additional turn, you can jump up to 1.4. And then I'm assuming this is with domain with 40% support, and he can jump up to almost 1.6 milli there. So that may not be the highest stat in the world, but I guess once you consider that he is going to have guard and he's going to be able to perform an insane amount of damage, I feel like in slot 2, next to the TEQ Broly, who's going to be sitting in slot 1 as a defensive menace while also performing crazy damage. We've probably got another Broly coming as a Dokkan Fest LR, so potentially imagine if he was a support style unit like the Physical Super Saiyan Trio, like that could really help Movie Bosses cause some shenanigans. So let me know your thoughts on this EZA down below. At the very least, he's going to be solid defensively and super fun offensively, so really looking forward to it. So thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to keep up with the content, and hopefully I'll catch you all on the next video.